Total domination. Total domination by Red Bull. No one to challenge. Since 2022, no one has even come close. There's a lot of teams that talk tough. There's been a lot of teams that talk tough, but nothing's happened. Spicy engine, nothing's happened. We're gonna make bigger side pods. Nothing's happened. We're gonna put a rocket ship on the back of the car. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing happened. We're gonna give it a new concept. We're not gonna give it a new concept. We're just gonna put upgrades on the car. Nothing's happened. All right, the occasional race, it showed promise. I'm talking about Mercedes now. The occasional race, it showed promise, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. All we had for 2 years is talk. Talk. Red Bull have just broken Mercedes' record, what was held since 2014 or 16. 19 races in one season by a team. Red Bull just beat that with 20. Like I said, total domination. And all Toto can do is do interviews, hands in his pocket, smiling away. Or we need to give Lewis a better car. We need to give Russell a better car. That's just talk. Don't talk, do it. It's very simple. Do it. And what do you think is going to happen? What? Because they're going to change concept next year, that'll make Mercedes on par with Red Bull? Doesn't work that way. Red Bull is already ahead of the development game. They've got the best car on the grid by far, fastest car on the grid by far, the best in the corners by far, the best in the slow speed corners by far. They don't need to do much of that car, just a few tweaks here and there. They're already ready to go. The other teams are catching up. Mercedes are the one on the back foot. Mercedes are. At least McLaren were clever and changed concept when they did. Aston Martin done it as well. Didn't always work out in the race, but they still changed concept. Lance Stroll's dad knew on day one in 2022 that they needed to change concept. But Mercedes continued with their concept because Mercedes thought they was the best. They thought, we are 8-time constructors champions. We don't need help. We're going to continue with our way. What we're going to do, we're going to put them big, massive side pods on the side of the car, and that will get us through. Very simple. But it didn't work out that way. Didn't work out that way. What's happened? We've had a disaster for 2 years. We've come out and says we're going to put upgrades on this car. We're going to make this, we're going to make that. Nothing's happened. They're not even close to Red Bull. And I don't care if you put a new concept on the car next year, you're still going to be struggling at the beginning, I think. Because I think Red Bull's ahead of the game. Excuse me. It is what it is. But listen, we'll have to wait till next year to see what happens. I don't want to come at you all negative. I want to be a realist. I don't want to come out in a video, talk crap, and say to you guys, you know what? I think Mercedes are going to come good next year. This happened because of this. It happened because Mercedes were arrogant. Very simple. A year and a half before these new regulations kick in, our gentleman, which I'm not going to name on the stream, you can Google it, came to Mercedes and said, look, the new regulation is going to be different. It's going to be ground effect. I've got a thesis on ground effect. I know a lot about ground effect. I might be able to help you. What did Mercedes go and do? Don't need your help. Very simple. Don't need your help. Because we are 8-time constructors champion. Who are you? But they didn't realise Red Bull were clever. Red Bull had Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey's got a thesis on the ground effect car. They always knew they didn't have the fastest car. They couldn't compete with the Mercedes engine. Who could? But if they could find a way how to make the best chassis, design the best chassis, and be the best at the pits, maybe we can beat them. Because they knew the ground effect was coming down the road. They knew what was coming. They was building this car, this ground effect car, years before the rule came in. They knew. Remember, all the teams have to sign up on it. They have to sign off on the new regulations. Mercedes thought they could, we'll turn up, we'll strap them big side pods to the side of the car, and that will get us through. But it didn't work out that way, did it? Didn't work out. What we got a car what doesn't work, just like in 2022, it doesn't work. You can throw whatever upgrades on the car, it doesn't work. Very simple, it doesn't work. You try and tweak it, they go back. George Russell is done. George Russell is done with this team for this season. He's thinking about Malibu, he's thinking about his holiday with his new girlfriend. He wants to get out of his dog manure car. Dog manure. He wants to go on holiday, he wants to enjoy himself, he wants to enjoy his holiday. He's had enough of this car. He said himself in the interview, he said, what did he say? He goes, it doesn't matter what we do to this car, we can put whatever upgrade on this car, still not going to work. When it comes to the race, it just doesn't work out. Lewis Hamilton in the interview, quote, he says, quote, one more qualifying in this car, and then that's it, I'm done. He doesn't even want to get back in the car, never mind drive it at Abu Dhabi 2023. I think Hamilton wants a second driver to drive in his car. He doesn't even want to get in the car. But people think because they've got Allison, they brought back Allison, we never should have got rid of, by the way. They should have kept on to Allison. They brought back James Allison, and James Allison is working on his 2024 car. New concept, going to be similar to Red Bull. That doesn't mean it's going to beat Red Bull. Because Red Bull is way ahead of the developing game. They are way ahead. They know everything about this car. They know everything what makes his car tick. If anything, Mercedes is third in the packing line. Red Bull's there, Ferrari's there, and McLaren's there. They change concept because they know. So they're fourth in the packing line. So you got Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, then you got Mercedes. Regarding these new concepts, that Mercedes finally woke up, that they should have done at the end of 2021. The penny should have dropped. No, the penny should have dropped in 2022. The penny should have dropped in 2022. They should have realised the early part of the 2022, when they start having the bobbing, they should have realised then we've got to change concepts. But Mercedes thought in their head, you know what? If we get rid of the bobbing on the car, the little bob, we'll be all right. But when they got rid of that, what happened? The car's still crap. The car's still crap. It is what it is. So, I'm going to bring in my co-accused, my partner in crime, to do a brief review on this. Toto Abba.
Yeah, big up, man.
Before Toto starts talking, what's that sound? I can hear something in the background anyway. But before you start talking, can you mute your mic a bit because I can hear something loud? Before we start talking, I'm going to get into this. Before the race started, the oil, there was oil on the track, and it was on the dirty side of the track. It come up. They had a parade lap, and all the oil came onto the track and dirtied up the track. And I thought the race was going to actually get stopped at one time for a little bit, but they never cleared it up. I thought that would have made a difference to the start to Max Verstappen. Didn't work because it was on this side of the grid. So, Toto, what did you think of the race overall, the weekend?
I think weekend was quite good, and to be honest, I think the race was probably the most entertaining part of the whole weekend because we had stoppages, we had red flags almost mostly all weekend. The red flag was really the dominant one, but when it came to the race, There was safety cars. There was lots of people getting lucky at the safety cars, like Sergio Perez. He got lucky at the safety car. Verstappen got lucky at the safety car, pushed him up the grid a bit. And yeah, how I think about the weekend, it was a good weekend. And I think the start of the race was a really, really good start of the race, to be honest with you, with Leclerc and Verstappen. Well, it weren't really good from Leclerc's end because Leclerc did get pushed out wide while Leclerc was ahead going into the corner. And then Verstappen just allegedly forced him off, which he can't do.
Yeah,
So,
go on.
And of course, you got the Alonso thing as well.
Hamilton,
Alonso.
I'm talking about the Leclerc. What did you think of that Leclerc thing?
Leclerc thing, Verstappen, of course, got the 5 seconds.
Forced him off the track.
Yeah, you shouldn't have forced him off the track because he's not allowed to do that. And of course, the penalty should have been higher. Should have been 10 seconds.
I'm going to talk about the penalty now. The penalty was a joke. Crafty came out of the radio and he said that he should have got a bigger penalty, especially after what Max Verstappen did when he was on the radio and he said, send my regards to the FIA. When he got the 5-second time penalty, his radio engineer didn't have the balls to tell him that, we think you should give the place back. I thought he was just basically waffling. And he said, look, Max, it's up to you if you want to give the place back, which I thought the team should have got fined for that. When the FIA tells you to move on, give the place back, you give the place back. If you don't, then you should get a double the penalty. He should have got a 10-second time penalty, and Red Bull should have got fined. Very simple for defying the rules. They didn't listen to the rules. They went their way. They don't need to listen to the rules because I know they got the FIA in the pocket. Very simple, really. We all know that. We know how F1 works. We know when it comes to a normal decision with other teams, it gets sorted in 2 minutes. But with the Max Verstappen one, when he blatantly pushed Charles Leclerc off the track, blatantly, it took him about 10 to 15 minutes to come to the punishment. But we know how it goes in F1 when it comes to Red Bull and the FIA. So, at the beginning, Lewis Hamilton getting caught up in the mess. I thought his car got damaged at the beginning. Alonso just randomly spun at the beginning, brought out the safety car. Perez came in, changed his nose. Perez was, at these points, he was out of the race anyway, at these points. Lap 3 after the safety car, lap 3 resumes. Lando Norris crashes his car. Shame for Lando Norris crashing out at lap 3. Out, no grip on his car. Stewart said he must give the place back to, this was after the incident. 5-second I think he got a 5-second time penalty. Max, like we just talked about. Russell puts the hard tyres on. This is during the safety car. 2.5 seconds putting the hard tyres on. Charles and Max pit as well. Lap 17, puncher on Piastri's car. Lewis Hamilton also get it was puncher on Lewis Hamilton's car. He was doing so well, Lewis Hamilton, during this race. What happened with Lewis, man? Lewis started near the back. He came back. He was challenging Oscar Piastri. For me, he made that silly move. He shouldn't have done that move. And I think it was that turn 1 or turn 4. That move had done on Oscar Piastri. There was no need for it. I just thought he should have waited till he got to the DRS zone and then pass him, but he went for it and he got a puncher. And I know the contact wasn't that big, but he got the puncher. And I thought, damn, I'm sure Lewis Hamilton, I think, could have gotten the podium if he wouldn't have got that first puncher. Do you think Lewis Hamilton, what do you think about that when Lewis Hamilton went for that move on Oscar Piastri?
Yeah, I think you're right about he could have got a potential podium. I wouldn't say exactly, but he was running a good race. He weren't really running a good race, really, because of the incident at the beginning with Alonso. But I think there was a chance for the podium.
He made a comeback, though, man. He was right.
I know.
He was up at the top.
He didn't make a comeback. He made a comeback about 3 times in a race. He made a comeback towards the end. Made a comeback in the middle of the race.
He made a comeback. I'm on about this one now. He made a comeback, because he had the hard tyres on. When the safety car come out, everybody was pitting. He stayed out, you see, and he put the hard tyres on. And because he had the hard tyres at the beginning, that gave him more. Obviously, he could go on longer, and he was slowly weaving through the crowd. And I think it was like something like 8th or 7th, and then he went for that silly move on Oscar Piastri, which I thought he should have waited till he got to the DRS zone.
Yeah,
But he went for that move and then he clicked and he got the puncher. What do you think?
Yeah, because when Piastri went for that corner, it was really, really tight, you know,
No,
where
but
Hamilton
Piastri
went.
was
For that
Hamilton
corner.
went for the corner.
Yeah, I know Piastri was going around the corner, but the gap where Hamilton went for with Piastri starting to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And I think that's what caused only a little clip on the wheel, because these cars are sensitive now. Only a little clip on the wheel could cause a puncher. And I think that's what caused him. He, of course, came back after that when he pitted, because he had safety cars and everything. But I think if you put the blame on someone, I don't think it's said blame to anyone, really. I think it's racing. Hamilton went for the move, hope it sticked, but it didn't. And they both collided with each other. So if we're going to give like an incident, it will probably be a race incident between those two. It's no one's fault.
Obviously, they looked at it and they got addressed straight away that it was a racing incident. But I just think if it was me, I would have waited a little bit longer. He didn't need to go for that move. He had so many laps to go.
Yeah.
By these points, he had like 30 odd laps to go. Why go for a move where you could have got him on the straight? Because the Mercedes car looked fast in the race. He looked decent in the race, the Mercedes car did. Now, Leclerc pitted on lap 22. Basically, after this incident where we talk about Max Verstappen now, when they said to Max Verstappen, don't worry about the penalty, you can eke out the 5 seconds. He didn't eke out the 5 seconds. He actually wore his tyres out. And Charles was chasing him, and Charles was catching him up. Charles actually passed Max Verstappen because he come out and said, my tyres are gone. I don't think his tyres did go. I believe that Charles was just faster in the race. So when he passed him, the lap after, Max pitted. He came in. And then Charles had a nice clear air in front of him. Lap 25, lap 22, Leclerc puts his stint on. And he was in a good position. Sailing away. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because basically Max was trying to catch George at lap 25. And both crashed. Safety car came out. Safety car come out after lap 25. And this was when everything fell into Red Bull's hand. Max pit, because I think when Leclerc pitted on lap 22 and the safety car come out on lap 25 and everybody started to pit. Max pitted on lap 26, put his fresh tyres on, and that was it then. And then Perez came in, had his fresh tyres on as well. Everything worked out perfect for Red Bull. And then by this point, Charles Leclerc was just a sitting duck. He was in front of the two Red Bull guys, but the Red Bull had the fresh boots on, and they could eventually caught him. Lewis pitted under the safety car, which I thought was a bit silly. I thought he should have carried on a bit longer. See, if Lewis was up there like in 6th or 7th, pitting under the safety car would have made more sense, but he wasn't. He was near the back anyway. So we pitted, and then when he came out the pits, he was plumb last. So I know, but again, during the race, Lewis came back again, which we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
Perez was in front of Charles, dragging Charles. This was a nice little race here. When Charles was in front, and then Perez was chasing him, and then Max Verstappen was behind Perez, and basically Perez passed Charles. Charles was in the middle, and Max Verstappen then was behind Charles Leclerc. So it was basically a Red Bull sandwich. Finger was in the front, Perez was in the front, Charles was second, Max Verstappen was third. And you knew at this point what was going to happen. You knew at this point Charles was basically had no chance. He tried his best, but he just knew he didn't have a chance then. They was going to work together on him. What did you think of the situation when you saw them three together driving?
Yeah, because of course Matt's come on the radio and saying if we work together we can get Leclerc. Yeah. I think Leclerc did try his best. He did try his best, but come on, when two Red Bulls behind you with that ultimate speed of the Yeah, no. When Perez is behind you, or even a Red Bull behind you, right, with that DRS, and plus with the toe around this track, the toe's really, really strong on this track. There's two long straights, and I saw lots of cars like Alpine, nearly every car getting so many people on that straight. And if you've got a Red Bull behind you, especially the Red Bull, that DRS, Leclerc really can't do anything there. Leclerc tried, don't get me wrong, he tried. Yeah. It was the Red Bull 1-2, and the Red Bulls just keep on towing off each other, keep on giving them DRS. I think Leclerc will probably be sitting duck there. So
Charles locked up, Perez passed him, and then Perez was in front of Charles, and it seemed like at this point that Perez was dragging Charles along with him because he didn't want Max to pass Charles. So he could get the so Max will be behind Perez and Max will get the win. So it looks like Perez was kind of slowing down a little bit so Charles could get the DRS to keep Max behind him, which I thought it was a smart move because obviously Perez wanted to win, but it didn't work. Eventually, I think Charles passed Perez, which I thought was surprising again.
Yeah.
Charles passed Perez, and then Max passed Perez. Max went in front, and again. Perez passed Charles again, and then it was just a 1 and 2 Mercedes after that. I thought Charles done his best, but if it weren't for the safety car, Charles had this race won. And whoever knows about Formula One, who actually watched the race, you could see that Charles had the race won, and everything was perfect for him. And it was a shame that Carlos Sainz got that penalty at the beginning, which I thought he shouldn't have got the penalty for something it weren't even his fault. It was the fact that the drain come up underneath his car, damaged his car, and then the Ferrari get penalised because they had to change parts on his car, which I thought was a bit silly. They need to change that rule. They definitely need to change that rule because I think that rule's silly. But imagine if it was the 2 Ferraris versus the 2 Red Bulls, it would have been brilliant. But Charles Leclerc, for me, he should have won the race. He got caught out by the safety car. It helped out the 2 Red Bulls because before the first safety car, Perez was last, more or less. And then when the safety car come out, the first safety car, Perez went from like 13th, right? Not last, but it was 13th or 14th. He went from there to 8th in that safety car, and that's how much the safety car helped Perez. Especially both of the safety cars helped him out, and obviously helped out Max Verstappen as well because they had the new grip, they had the new boots at the end, the new tyres at the end to get them through. So for me, I thought Ferrari was going to do it. I thought Charles Leclerc was going to win this one. They showed promising qualifying. They had the pace. They got 1 and 2 in qualifying, and it's obviously because of the penalty that Sainz got. He basically couldn't help out Charles at the end. But it's a shame for Charles. I thought Charles deserved to win it. Didn't happen. But it is what it is. Another Red Bull domination, another race win by Red Bull. Let's hope next year doesn't end like this, start like this.
Yeah, and another point I want to come across is about Mercedes and all this win tunnel time and all that. I think Mercedes, they were pre-warned last season about this concept business. Of course, Aston Martin did change the concept, and it did work out for them. But I think next year, what Mercedes need to think about, maximise their car in the testing. Don't start sandbagging. Don't start going slow on purpose. You won't actually know the full potential of the car. When you actually go full accelerator on the tracks, just go full accelerator, flat out, and let's see how your car is. Maximise that potential of that car. And they need to take advantage of the win tunnel time, because when you're in the constructors, it takes 70% out of 100 of your win tunnel time. So Red Bull now has only got 30% win tunnel time for next season. What Hamilton, Russell, and Mercedes has to do, they'll have to get the win tunnel time and just try use the most out of that, because that's the way you test your aerodynamics. That's going to be important, and also your power. That's really, really going to be important. So that's where you test it. So where Mercedes had to do, make use of the win tunnel time, maximize potential in testing. That's what I have to do. At least finish top 3 for the first race.
Yeah, facts, man. It has to be like that at the end of the day, or you're just going to get another Red Bull domination, which nobody wants at all. So, it is what it is. I'm going to end it there. I got things to do. I'm a bit busy today, but we're going to end it there. We're going to be back tomorrow with the football. We're probably going to do the debrief tomorrow, but I know we're doing some football video tomorrow because we've got the football season back this week. So we're going to start doing Premier League predictions, and tomorrow we're going to do Premier League predictions, and Wednesday we're going to be doing Liverpool's build up as well. And Thursday, guys, Thursday or Friday, it'll actually be Thursday, we're doing WWE Survivor Series review as well. So Tuesday tomorrow is football. It's a football prediction for this week review, and Wednesday we're going to be doing the Liverpool one, and Thursday we're going to be doing WWE Survivor Series review because it's the 30th anniversary of Survivor Series. So that's it, man. So we're busy this week. One more race to go. Abu Dhabi 2021. Abu Dhabi 2023. I can't wait till this season is in the toilet and it never gets mentioned ever, ever, again. Big up, guys. Big up, Toto Hammer. See you later.